So I didn't record the intro before I met with Lily Ray and Paul VanHevel from Amsive Digital, but it was a really great conversation. I hope you enjoy it. We talked a lot about core updates, a lot of theories around them. And then in part two, we go through like what I'm calling an SEO smorgasbord of SEO topics. I think you're going to love it. So I hope you like part one, which is coming up, and then part two, which will be next week with this amazing conversation with Lily and Paul. Enjoy.
Using their AI and all of the different tools that they have, we're actually able to increase our revenues 3, 4, and 5 times.
We're not only weathering the storm, but we're actually growing right now.
Thank you guys for coming to my office.
Thanks for having us.
Just so you guys know, I think COVID is over. For us, at least. We're all vaccinated. The infection rate in New York State is like well below 1%. So I think we're safe. And the CDC guidelines, by the time this came out, or actually before we're recording this, are indoors are okay for vaccinated people. Just as a disclaimer. I have to do that because otherwise people are like, will yell at you on whatever. Cool. All right. So I have with me, as you probably know from the second video I ever done on this vlog, Lily Ray.
Hey, everyone.
And your colleague, Paul VanHevel.
Hey, everyone.
Pronouncing that correctly, right?
Yes, sir.
Great. And you guys now are no longer at Path Interactive, but you're at Amsive Digital. Did I pronounce that correctly?
No, you did not. It's Amsive Digital.
Amsive Digital. Okay. So you're at this new company, which is an old company, which is still new.
Correct.
That's my slogan, isn't new. And you guys are pretty much doing the same thing, just better.
Yeah, that's fair.
We've
bigger team.
Yeah, we've merged with our parent company, so it's a lot of new employees.
Cool. I don't know exactly what that means, merging with your parent company, but they've owned Path forever, I guess? Or no?
Yeah, so the Mikes, right? Mike and Mike, worked through numerous relationships with the SourceLink, Vision teams. So I think it all made sense to come under one umbrella as Amsive and, now Amsive Digital. So I think it's opened up doors for us. And
Yeah, I think that acquisition was 2 years ago. SourceLink acquired Path, so.
Okay, cool. All right, who wants to start in terms of who you are, what you do?
I think everyone may know who Lily Ray is, but I'm Paul VanHevel, senior strategist here at Amsive Digital. Been working with Lily for years. Learned lots over the years, and just happy to be here with her today.
Yeah, I'm Lily Ray. I'm the senior SEO director and head of organic research at Amsive Digital. So Paul is one of my main strategist on the team that's responsible for executing a lot of the SEO strategies on some of our biggest accounts. So excited to have him here.
So just to compare you two, you've been doing SEO for how long? I have your LinkedIn profile here, so you can't lie.
Yeah,
not that it's accurate.
In some capacity for maybe just under 10 years.
10 years or so.
9-10 years.
And it says here you were a copy editor and a reporter.
Yeah.
So that's kind of SEO.
Western Herald, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And Lily, how long have you been doing SEO?
10 and a half.
So she got you beat out by
Right?
I know, just barely.
No doubt.
Cool. And what do you hate about SEO? I should have put you on the spot there.
Meta descriptions, primarily.
Not expecting that.
Meta keyword tags.
Yeah. Alt text. Actually, I really love
How about
alt text.
not having a break ever?
Yeah.
That's
Right.
lately.
You go on a vacation, Google drops an algorithm update.
Yep.
And you're
Pretty
getting screwed.
much.
There goes your vacation. The meta, the alt tags. That's a big controversial topic, even though it's so easy. How much time do you guys spend on alt tags?
Alt tags are great.
Yeah.
Let's not get them mixed up with meta description.
No, but I'm saying alt tags are something you guys spend a lot of time on. It's like you get a new client, all the alt tags are always blank. And
there's ways to do it without spending a lot of time on it, but do we do it? 100%.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a need that most sites have.
More for accessibility than anything else.
You don't see like a pop in terms of rankings. They actually just change all tags.
It depends.
You ever create a site and be like,
yes,
0 rankings, and you just change all tags, and all of a sudden,
well, image SEO traffic. It's not like organic rankings.
Right.
Image rankings. Yeah.
You can't even get to the website from the image results. It's like
you have to click around a few times.
Click 5 clicks to get to the actual website.
Common theme on Google.
Yeah, the evil people. All right, let's talk about juicy stuff. You guys spend a lot of time helping clients with issues. That's what you guys do. And last time we spoke, which was almost 2 years ago, I believe, we talked specifically about fixing issues after core updates, and then you brought in EAT and how that's important. And now somebody's drilling something. Google's always watching us, right?
They're listening, interfering.
So we spoke about those two topics, and it's still very, very, important these days. And I guess one topic on it: has anything changed in terms of how you approach fixing, client issues after an algorithm update?
You just that it's always different, right? So depending on the client, it's going to be a different set of issues. But typically, if you've been hit with the core algorithm update, there's something systemically wrong, with your site. So in a lot of cases, it's maybe low quality, duplicative type content. It's something we see frequently. Other quality issues just in general, right? So if you're like in the wellness space and you don't have any authorship, for instance, that's going to be an issue and something you need to like really, really address over time. I think the biggest thing with core algorithm updates is there is no quick fix. It's going to take months and months and months. It might take a core algorithm update or two to see that visibility bounce back. So to answer your question, I think it's always different, right? Need to look at historic performance and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that the approach has changed, although we have baked more of Google's recommendations about improving content quality into our process. I think that's what Paul and his team focus really closely on, is like Google puts out 20 plus questions about how to assess quality, and most SEOs don't do anything with it. We do a lot with it. That's how we spend a lot of our time.
So it's between that original Google core update post where Google first said, if you get hit by a core update, there's nothing you could do. And then we complained and Google's like, fine, here's what you could do.
Yeah, pretty much.
And also the quality rater guidelines.
Yeah. I mean, if you read a lot of their documentation, there's all kinds of recommendations, but I think a lot of SEOs don't act on them because they're not ranking factors.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to conceptualize how to approach.
It's subjective. I would say a lot of the EAT we're doing is subjective. Like you have to. It's not an exact science. You gotta get in the weeds and think a little bit differently.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just bringing quality to the user. Is how I kind of go about it. So,
Yeah.
I got hit by a core update, and I was me, so I'm like, I'm not making any changes until the next core update just to see if something bounces back, and it bounced back. It's rare, right? But I think I must be on that verge of his content is okay, not too bad, but maybe if he writes one poor word like tomorrow, it's gonna go right under that line of like this site should be.
It's not a good site.
I like to balance that line and just take that risk.
Right.
It's not good advice, right? You shouldn't wait.
In the gray area, that's what Glenn Gabe always calls it.
Glenn Gabe is like, you should really make some quality changes in this site.
Or just ride the wave and see what happens.
That's what I told him. Like, no, I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is perfectly common. I think that doesn't like invalidate the work that we do to address core updates. The fact that some people see gains and losses each time without doing things, because Google takes feedback from how people are interacting with a new update and they make certain tweaks, and as a result of that, some sites are going to ebb and flow, but we like to see our sites going in the same direction with each
I mean, you should be proactive with this type of stuff and not be like, I just, me, I like to toy around and see what happens.
Right.
So I found that pretty interesting and I don't think it had something to do with how Google tweaked anything per se. It might have been just, I'm at that line of once you cross over that line, you're not gonna, you just don't do well.
Right.
And who knows? Who knows what it is? And it's kind of like a mystery, like you said. It's just it's a lot of subjective things.
Yeah.
My question to you is, how do you talk to a client who's really passionate about their website? They put so much money and effort into it, and they get hit by a core update, and they come to you, and you be like, "Well, your site's garbage. You gotta fix it." How do you handle that?
Delicately, I think first off, prefacing that it's going to take time, right? I've mentioned this before, but this is a systemic issue, so it's going to take months and months and months. I think you start small, right? Here are the things they can start tackling today, and then you dig into those quality issues and you develop an actionable plan in like chunkable bite-sized pieces that make it a little bit easier for them to wrap their heads around. Starting with priority URLs or sections of the site that may have seen like the biggest hits, and then just taking it week by week, fixing systemic site-wide issues over time, and before you know it, 6 months later, you have a totally different site. So bite-sized pieces, I guess, would be the way I would kind of pitch that to a potential client.
Do they fight? Let's say they sign the contract after you say, you know what, you have issues with your website. You tell them the issues. You're very honest with them. They sign the contract, and then you ask them to implement something, and they be like, no, this content is the best. We can't update. Have they ever fought back on that?
I would say in most cases, no. Yeah, a lot of the people we're working with are with us because they know they have issues, right? So a lot of what we come back with are things that they're pretty quick to act on. We're fortunate enough to work with clients who move very quickly, which is rare in some circumstances.
Yeah, I think we're pretty lucky these days. The types of clients that we're attracting, like you said, they know they have problems. It's like step one, admit there's a problem, and then they kind of go from there. Like, yeah, we might have broken some rules or.
Yeah, or you'll find out that you're addressing an algorithm issue and they're still building links in the background.
Right. That we had that happen recently. They had a manual action and they were still paying link builders.
They were, and did they told you that, or
No, they had to come clean because we figured it out.
They were hiding it from you.
Yes.
Well, I think the issue here was they didn't know better. They think they were sold something that was.
So it wasn't intentionally. They just thought they were doing something on the side.
That's what's the worst part is the company doesn't know what they're signing up for most of the time.
Right. Yeah, it's like you go to the doctor and the doctor asks you, you list off a bunch of things and you say everything's fine, and then some other doctor's other doctor's telling you to take this type of weird drug. You didn't think to tell the doctor.
Right.
Exactly. The doctor in this case. What are there any number one, number two, number three type of issues that are common across all your clients when it comes to these things? Is it
That's a good question.
content? Is it meta descriptions?
I mean, I think depending on the vertical, right? Depends. So we talked a lot about YM, YL, right? So if you're in that vertical, it's going to be authorship and those types of authoritative signals. But I think top three for us, things I would look at, someone got hit by an algorithm update would be, thin or duplicative content would be a big one. Let's see here. What else?
Well, dangerous or we have some clients who used to write a lot of content that was not good advice,
or offensive.
How to lose 3 pounds in a day. It's that's not great. So Google's obviously cracking down on dangerous content that's not authored by people with expertise. Yeah. So our clients might have done those types of content projects in the past.
Pseudosciences.
Yeah. Bad medical advice.
Yeah.
But some people who write that type of content truly believe it works.
Sure.
Do you have clients that have truly believed it worked, or they just wrote it because?
We had a funny situation once where a client, we didn't end up working with them, but they came to us with all kinds of content that contradicted scientific consensus, and they said, we're going to hire you guys to fix this so it's in line with scientific consensus because we want traffic.
Right.
We care about traffic, so we need to update. And they are updating all their content, not with us, but you can see. And they're seeing improvements for what it's worth. The traffic is coming back. So.
And how does Google figure out if it's scientific or proven?
Good question.
That's the subjective piece. Yeah.
Do you have any theories? I have a theory.
Well, I mean, I think there's clear transparency signals you can have on your page, right? That make it maybe a little bit more authoritative. So the authorship, the MDs, the PharmDs, having those credentials medically reviewed on the page. The fact check functionalities I think are important.
Sourcing.
Disclaimers, sourcing, all manner of things.
The language itself, Google does natural language processing, so it's clear if there's a level of expertise with the content. What's your theory?
That's that point you made. They used to have I don't know if you mentioned this maybe we talked about this in our first video when we spoke about Google used to let you filter the search results based on level of content.
Oh, I didn't even
in terms
know
of
that.
expertise. They used to have a filter saying for people who can't read too well, or for people who are normal readers,
Wow.
and for really PhD level people.
I don't even
I should
remember
find
that.
I'll try to include that in the show notes. But they used to have a feature like that.
Well, that's important information.
It was definitely more than 10 years ago.
Wow.
My theory is that Google knows about so much content on a specific topic that it could see if, let's say 10% of the content on that topic is written like this, but 90% of the content is written like that.
Yeah.
They're gonna say something's wrong with that 10% of content. So that person who's writing about a herbal method to cure cancer might not be according to science because 90% of the other content is saying otherwise on the internet.
I think it's perfectly valid. I mean, that's what the knowledge graph is all about, right? It's connecting like facts and entities and attributes about different entities. And so if you see cancer or like drinking carrot juice as a cure for cancer, if that's written on the page, it's clearly not what Google knows about cancer. I
think something we're trying here too is taking a lot of that like maybe non-evidence-based, holistic medicine type content and actually siloing that into its own section on this site so that you're only interlinking to that type of content from those content pages and maybe siloing that other 90% of your top performing content into its own bucket. But we'll see.
Do you ever try blocking it, or you just mean make a subdomain or subfolder?
Not even a subdomain, just with the way that you've architected your interlinking signals. I don't want like my most authoritative piece of content associated with my apple cider vinegar piece, for instance.
Right.
It's a theory, something
that should work, but you have to give Google a very clear signal, either subdomain or subfolder or
subfolders, I think, and breadcrumbs.
Like piece like slash not scientifically correct.
Pseudoscience. It's the pseudoscience folder.
There are things you can do.
Not that I know anything about science or alternative medicine, so whatever I'm saying is good.
We know now after doing this work for a few years.
You were doing a challenge where you're going to try all that non-scientific stuff.
Yeah.
Have you tried anything yet? No.
Well, yesterday I found the top ranking page from 2018 for acne remedies, or like at-home acne remedies. It was like 10 things you can do at home to treat your acne, and number 8 was like take a banana peel and just rub it all over your face and then let it sit for 30 minutes. I was like, I would do a video just doing that.
That would be funny. That could
get
some
Google
social
ranked as number 1.
Get a lot of links from that.
I think guacamole was in there too.
Yeah, let's just put some guacamole on there.